Have you ever seen someone in the heat of the moment being disrespected, yelled at, degraded even, and they maintain their composure? That's called self-management, also known as self-regulation. Do you aspire to have that skill set? Because it is a skill, not a trait. Let's talk a little bit more about self-management. Hi, my name is Yvette, and I am a certified social and emotional intelligence coach. And on this channel, we talk all things emotional intelligence because research supports, and I know for a fact that emotional intelligence is a difference maker. It can make a fundamental difference in your life, from your life being bad to it being good, from your life being good to it being better, from your life being better to it being great. Research supports it. Emotional intelligence can get you results that your natural intelligence cannot. And today we are talking about self-management. This is part 2 in a series of 4 where we are exploring the 4-quadrant model of emotional intelligence. I always like to start with a definition of what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is one's ability to be aware of their own emotions in the moment and to use that information to manage themselves and their relationships. Simple, right? Except it's not. And so emotional intelligence is kind of the big picture. How we divvy that down is through this 4-quadrant model where we talk a little bit about and learn about, develop skills around self and other. And so today we're still on the self side, because if you can't master self, you can never master the world. In fact, you might argue once you master self, you have mastered the world. Today we're talking about self-management. And so I want to give a quick definition of what self-management is. Self-management is your ability to regulate your emotions, behaviors, and impulses in healthy and constructive ways, especially in triggering and stressful situations. It's hard stuff. I believe that I'm pretty emotionally intelligent. Other people say so too. And I also struggle with self-regulation, self-management, because who wants to be disrespected, especially when you are a well-intentioned person? But we can't control other people. We can always control ourselves. And so let's talk a little bit about the benefits of self-regulation or self-management. What's in it for you? The first thing is that you are developing a skill. You are exercising a muscle. Emotional regulation or self-management is a skill. It is not a trait. You are not born with it or without it. And that's great news, because it means that we can work on it. We can hone it in order to get better at it. Another really good point about self-management, emotional regulation, is that impulse control helps to protect your goals. So if you are trying to excel in your career, having impulse control can help you and stop you from saying things that may limit your ability to elevate to the next level. It can stop you from saying inappropriate things. It can stop you from reacting in ways that may be troubling to others. And so it helps you to protect your goals. Personal relationships where your anger could be scary and frightening to others, it can help you to maintain and enrich your relationships when you know the appropriate time to exhibit those negative emotions and the appropriate time to not do them. It's a skill though, so we practice and we learn, okay? And the final point about the value of developing your self-regulation, self-management, emotional regulation, called all the things, ultimately controlling our impulses, emotions, and behaviors that in a positive way that will allow us to have productive relationships with ourselves and the world. And so the final point to share is that this discipline that we're going to be working on, this ability to master ourselves and the emotions that we have that may be disruptive, it's discipline for sure, but there's flexibility within that discipline, meaning we want to be our authentic selves. I'm not asking you to consider taking on a persona or a role being other than yourself, quieting what you internally feel, just thinking about when is the proper time to express it. And if you express it, will you achieve your desired result? And so how do you do it? How do you exhibit self-regulation or self-management? How do you keep yourself in check? So the first way to develop self-management, self-regulation is to take care of yourself. Eating properly, sleeping properly. I know you're like, well, that's a given, but we don't do it. Or we don't do it enough, generally speaking. And so it's really important for us to take care of ourselves, because when you're not taking care of yourself, your impulses are going to be unchecked because you don't have the well-being in place to deal with those hard emotions, those challenging circumstances and situations that otherwise we might be able to react differently in a more positive way. When you take care of yourself, you can do an accurate self-assessment, which is called tracking your triggers and responses. And so having kind of like a journal or a log, something that allows you to take stock of the times where you've had some disruptive emotions or reactions, and documenting them, who you were engaging with, and what might have been some context to help you understand why you showed up that way. So as you gain this data, I always say, when you have data, you can be dangerous. So this data helps you to understand what is happening on the inside for you. It can help you to identify your triggers, some of the things that you may not be aware of. It can help you to see things that are blind spots for you. So you want to track your triggers and responses, kind of keep a log of your emotional reactions, especially the disruptive ones that don't give you the desired result that you want. The next step that you can take to develop your self-management or emotional regulation is to practice pause and reflect. And so what does that mean? It means, for example, when I'm talking to my husband and we're having an intense moment and I know that he can trigger me, I proactively come to the conversation with my phone, which we likely do, and I have a timer on it so that when I feel those uncomfortable emotions, I set a timer maybe for 10 seconds in order for me to pause before I respond. So I'm not responding with my gut reaction. I am pausing and reflecting before I respond. And the timer helps me to create space that my impulses don't want to give me. And so practice, pause, and reflect. A timer can be really helpful in you being successful with this effort. A final approach or step that you can take is to conduct experiments. We love experiments because it means you get to try something. An experiment gives you permission to try something, knowing that you're testing it to see if it will work. So in the moments where you are interacting, you kind of start to learn through your log who are your triggering people or what are your triggering events. And when you know that you could potentially find yourself in a situation like that, you need a visual cue. I literally have done this. I have taken, full transparency, not a permanent marker. Actually, I think it was a permanent marker, but it came off my skin. I took a permanent marker and I wrote on my hand, pause. And it became my visual cue that when I was interacting with a challenging individual, I would stop because I had this here. Or I would walk away. I've written walk away. or table, which means table the conversation for another time when emotions are not as escalated. And so whatever visual cue, maybe you don't want to write on yourself, maybe you can have a post-it note. I've done that too, but having something that will remind you to stop and respond in a way that is going to give you a better result. Something that will remind you that you may need to walk away from the conversation. It could be any object that prompts you, that's a cue for you that, hey, I need to take a different action. And when I see it, it's going to prompt me to do that. Those are the 3 steps that I have for you on developing your emotional regulation, self-management, and I will give you a bonus. The bonus that I have for you is to proactively communicate with the people in your life. So while we can't proactively tell strangers, hey, I'm working on my emotional regulation, self-management, telling people in your circle what you're up to can, 1, allow them to have empathy for you, and 2, support your effort. Possibly. And so that's a bonus. It could be helpful. You know your situation better than anyone. You're the expert. And so you decide. But I wanted to offer it to you. I think the next step, and our offering on this channel is always a challenge. So our challenge to you is to try these steps out in the next 24 hours, because if not, you're going to forget them, and see if they work for you. Start to gather that data, have that pause and reflect using your phone as a timer, and maybe having a visual cue to let you know you need to either exit, pause, table the conversation, whatever you need to do in order to get your desired result. These are approaches that you can take to manage yourself and ensure your emotional regulation is intact. And so if you are ready to go on a journey with a certified coach, we invite you to consider our coaching opportunities. And so we'll share a link in the description on how you can learn more about working with a certified emotional intelligence coach who will go on the journey with you to do this inside out work. Be on the sidelines as a passenger, you in the driver's seat, as you drive to your desired destination in life, work, whatever it may be. Until next time, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.